Let's take a little drive into the past. Back to November of 1936. Our destination, the remote Fisher River country of northwestern Montana. It's time to gather in a winter supply of meat. We're going to take roads that are more like trails. The going's going to be slow. It's 1936, in the midst of the Great Depression. Times were hard. You had to be tough. Can you imagine it? You see, this photo here was taken up there in the Fisher River in 1936. I've always been intrigued by this photo. There's some great bucks hanging on that meat pole for sure. You know what? Those people didn't give a damn about those antlers. Their only concern was keeping their bellies full through the long, hard winter about to come. This here's my grandfather. He was quite the hunter. He killed some giant bucks and bulls in his day. I'd ask, what happened to the rack from this buck or bull? Hard to say would be the answer I'd get. If they made it home at all, they were either hung in a tree or they laid in the weeds and rotted away. Or someone might stop by and he'd just simply give them away. Can't eat the horns. They hunted with open-sighted rifles. Ammo was scarce. You had to make every shot count. Their hunting gear was primitive compared to today's standards. They didn't have scope, high-powered rifles, laser rangefinders, GPSs, high-tech hunting clothes, and fancy boots to wear. And then when they got back home, they had no freezer to put the meat in. It was mostly put into jars and canned. I also questioned why they would drive that far north to hunt. Wasn't there closer places? I did some research and found that a lot of the places in the 30s, the game populations were fairly low. It wasn't that long before that market hunting had nearly wiped them all out. And the game population was still rebuilding from the late 1800s. You know, I wasn't around back in 36, but I almost got to think that people were a little hardier back then. I don't think too many people are going to starve to death if they don't get their deer or elk nowadays. Don't get me wrong though, the thrill of the hunt and the meat is still very important. I just don't think it's quite as life depending as it was back then.